What I'd like to do is demonstrate how to take a block model file, a raw block model file like this in tabular format, and reconcile it with a resource table. This resource table which you would find in a technical report or maybe a press release. To do that, I'll need, of course, this table, this block model file, but I also need another file, another table that describes the block model framework. And from that, I'll pull things like the block dimensions. In this case, they're 5 meters by 5 meters by 5 meters, but also need to know what each of the elements or the fields in the block model file, what values I should expect to find in them, which I can get here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is add some columns to this data. I'm going to calculate the tonnage of each block, the metal content of gold, silver, and gold equivalent. Okay, so this is simply the volume of a block, which I know to be 5 meters by 5 meters by 5 meters, and then multiply it by its density, and I know that this is in metric tons per cubic meter. For the metal content, I'm going to take the gold grade, grams per ton, and multiply it by the tonnage. I'm going to hit F4 3 times to lock in the column, the tons column. And then I'm going to copy this across. Okay, and so as long as the order of the elements here is the same as I find in here, this little trick should work with the cell referencing. Okay, and then copied all that down. Now I'm going to give myself some space at the top of this to work. I'm going to select all the blocks and all their columns, all their fields, and I'm going to go to Home and then hit this Format as Table button. Click OK, and then I'll convert that into a table that I can then filter. Alright, so this is where I'm going to be working. I'm going to go to the resource table and just copy it over. Do a little formatting. I'm going to copy it again. Let's see, 2 times. I'm going to delete that. So in here, I'm going to be putting my own tabulation of what these numbers should be based on the block model file. And then here, I just want to report the relative difference, if any. So this is going to be the ratio of what I calculate these measured tons to be versus what the official number is. And then I can copy that across and down. And I want these numbers here reporting as percentages. The next step is I need to find some numbers to fill in here. And I realize that I need to filter, need to add up, it's like say for the tonnage here, I need to add up the tons of all blocks that, at least for this cell, are both measured, have a measured class, and have a cutoff grade of greater than, or a grade of greater than 4 grams per ton gold equivalent. So looking down here, I see I have class, and it's filled with 1s, 2s, and 3s, and I know from my framework table that 1s, 2s, and 3s mean measured, indicated, and inferred respectively. So what I can do is filter this whole table for only those blocks that are classified as measured, and then I can go to the gold equivalent column and apply a filter that says, look, let's only do values greater than or equal to 4, which is the cutoff grade. So that filters the table, but now I need a way to tally it all up. So here I'm going to type in tons, gold, silver, and gold equivalent. And here I'm going to write a formula using the subtotal function, which takes as a first parameter this number 9, which is just a flag for use the sum, and then a comma, and then next it wants a range, so I'm going to give it this range, the complete tonnage column range. And there I can see I've totaled up all the tons of blocks that have a class of 1 and a gold equivalent grade of greater than or equal to 4. So I can do something similar here. Copy it across to save a little bit of time. For the gold column, I'm summing everything up, everything in the gold column. But also, after that, I want to then divide by the tonnage to get an average grade. So I'm going to hit F4 3 times to lock in the tonnage column there. So these tons have an average gold grade of 7.4. And I think I should be able to copy this across. Let's make sure that worked. Yeah. Okay, so now I can take these numbers and paste them into the measured row up here. And now we can see in my table below that's comparing the two, I'm getting pretty good agreement between my measured numbers that I tabulated versus the resource table. Slight discrepancy in the gold grade. That doesn't bother me, and really when it comes to differences that you might see in this table, it's up to the expert to decide if those differences are material or not. All right, so I can do the same thing for indicated by simply changing the filter and deselecting number 1 and selecting number 2. Copy and paste that. Again, just the values, not the formula. And then do the same for the inferred. Copy and paste. Okay, so there you go. I have now got a nice reconciliation between the resource table up here and the raw block model file down here. Now that I have this system set up, and I can actually go a step further and I can build a grade tonnage curve from utilizing this work I've already started. So what I want to know in this grade tonnage curve is for different cutoff grades, gold equivalent, and let's say, what's the resource look like when the cutoff grade is 1, 2, 3, maybe 1 through 10. So what I'll do is I'll take these values, take these labels, put them here, and then just go through the process. And I'm going to disregard class. I'm going to include measured, indicated, inferred together. And I'm going to change this filter from, originally I was using a value of 4. Let's change that to 1. Take these numbers and put them in my table here for number 1. So for a 1 gram per ton cutoff grade. Okay, and then I'll do that for 2 as well. I think you get the idea. Copy and paste them in the table. Okay, and I'll do this for all 10. Okay, so I've got my numbers filled in for all kinds of cutoff grades from 1 to 10. Now I want to plot this on a chart. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show a grade tonnage curve graphical format for gold equivalents. Select the cutoff grade column, the tons column, and the gold equivalent column. I'm going to insert a scatter chart, represent them as lines. And now you can see this blue line is my tonnage curve, and it's showing as cutoff grade increases, my resource tons decreases. This orange line at the bottom is my grade, but it needs to be plotted on its own y-axis. So choose a secondary axis for that. And then I'll just label this. Okay, and there you have it. We produced a couple of things here. We've got a nice reconciliation between a resource table and a block model file, as well as a grade tonnage curve that we were able to make pretty easily using the system we set up for the original exercise.